Hey, good afternoon, Nan. I'm so excited to have you here on the interview. Welcome, everyone. My name is Jeanne Zierhoffer, and I am here with Nan Nuessles, and we are with Codebreaker Technology. We are certified trainers and certified iOS coaches. And today I have the honor and the privilege to interview Nan. And Nan and I today, we're going to talk about bullying. We're going to talk about bullying and how implementing B.A.N.K into bullying can really help make a difference in your life and in the life of others. So I'm going to go ahead and ask Nan a couple of questions. Is everybody excited to meet Nan? Yes? Fantastic. Hey, Nan, welcome to the call. Could you tell us a little bit about your background?
Hi, Jean. Thank you very much. I am a pediatrician and have been for roughly 30 years. Started out doing traditional pediatrics, which is both office work and hospital work. And I've owned a solo practice. I've been a traveling physician. Somewhere along the line, I figured out that working just in the hospital fits me better because I sort of have a Superman complex. I like to be the superhero that swoops in and rescues everybody and saves the day. And yeah, I really love my job. I love helping people. I love working with kids. And what is it exactly you'd like to know?
Well, I know a little bit about you, Nan, so let's just be honest here. And I know that you had some issues in and around the hospital, possibly, with a little bit of bullying happening between people that you work with. Could you elaborate a little bit on that bullying that happens? Because, guys,
Uh,
let's face it, bullying is just not happening on Facebook for the young children or in school. Bullying happens everywhere.
Bullying does happen everywhere, and there's a lot of bullying that goes on in healthcare, and people aren't always aware of that. But um, bullying sometimes follows racial lines, it certainly follows gender lines. And we see a lot of women in medicine being bullied by the men in medicine, but we see a lot of things that you don't expect. Um, the stereotype of bullying in medicine is physicians bullying nurses. But what I was experiencing was being bullied by the nurses. We had some nurses who, for some reason, felt like they needed to control me, needed to make sure that I spent more and more hours in the hospital than was uh, indicated in my contract or certainly necessary for what was going on there. And so what started were little things like they would lie about it was a handful of nurses, and they would lie about the baby's vital signs and make them sound worse than they really were in order to make me have to stay. And I would go in and I would do these elaborate evaluations on the children and find nothing going on. And they would throw my things into my office. They would tell me I wasn't allowed at the nursing station, but to go back in my office. They wouldn't allow me to do any teaching, even though we had quite a few nurses who were fresh out of school and they had experience with the labor side, but no experience with the pediatric side of taking care of babies. And so it became more and more awkward as time went on. And I had heard about B.A.N.K. Someone sent me a set of the cards because they well, felt like some of this might be a communication issue more than anything else. And so I started coding the staff at work. And I thought, well, in an emergency situation, if I need that code, I'm going to need that code somewhere handy. So we coded the staff at work, and then we used stars to put their code on their name tag. Now, hospital policy doesn't allow us to put it on the front of the name tag, so we'd flip it over and put it on the back of the name tag. So everybody on our unit and everybody on the other unit I work on, med surg unit where the pediatric ward is, they all had their codes on the back of their name tag. And if communication got a little rough, we would reach over and we would each flip our name tags around and start speaking to the primary code and sometimes the secondary code. And by doing that, we were speaking to each other's strengths, not speaking to our stressors, but speaking to each other's strengths and building up each other's strengths. And we were able to hear each other better and connect better. And it was amazing. In the space of probably 3 weeks in the labor and delivery unit and a little longer out on med surge because I'm not out there as much. But in less than 2 months overall, we started seeing um, nurses doing this with each other, flipping those name tags around to talk to each other. And everybody's anxiety went down. People started really talking to, not talking at, but talking to each other and communicating with one another at a level that we weren't previously seeing. Little things that would become communication errors just kind of melted away.
Wow.
And yeah, it was phenomenal. The nurse manager started coming to me and saying, okay, we're seeing a change here, and we want to know how we can formally use this to like strengthen our unit. What are you doing? Because it's different. And we want to use this, see if we can use this to strengthen our teams in our unit. So I just sat down with the managers and we started doing this and like, okay, this is like a game, right? We can use this like a game and we can um, do this with everybody, right? I'm like, yeah, we can do this with everybody. So we did it with several of the managers, and the managers started doing it with their units, and it really did. It really brought people together. And this is when COVID hit. This was like, what was it, May and June, so a month or two after COVID hit, when everybody else was having a mass exodus of their nursing staff and their LPNs and techs, we were pulling people in and getting units really solidified and working together. And there was this work, much more communication from one unit to the next. Um, the next thing we saw was people asking what they could do to help other teams, and all these people reaching out to work with each other. And they would go like this and they would flip the name tag around.
Wow.
I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I just did this to like help with my little problem in my own space. And now I'm seeing all over the hospital people reaching out and turning the name tag around and looking at these stars and saying, oh, I know that color. And I know just 2 or 3 words that I can use in a phrase to kind of get things rolling so we can speak better.
Nice. Nice.
And this was without doing any sort of a formal training session with the hospital.
Nice. So I'm gonna grab it back for a minute because what I want to
Okay.
share with everyone is when she's talking about code and when she's talking about bank, bank is an acronym for blueprint, action, nurture, and knowledge. Bank is the only methodology in the world scientifically validated to predict buying and decision making behavior. It's also used to communicate better and on a different level because we all come with our own personality and then we hit another personality and you have this. Well, Nan's using it to have a more cohesive workplace so they can communicate better. And it's done so quickly. I'm going to share my screen real quick and then we're going to go wrap up her story. So, here are the four personality types: the blueprint, the action, the nurture, and the knowledge. And all Nan's done was ask these people as she had her plastic cards because she was in front of them. But if you're on a Zoom call, you just ask people to read the values and then they just go ahead and they can move them in order with the values pertaining to them and who they are. And it is so fascinating how it is alleviating stress in a hospital, which must be a huge stressful situation. I know when I've been a guest at a hospital, a patient, And, you can see the stress. You can see, people running and shuffling in the stress there. So it's so fascinating to me to hear how you've implemented it and how it's working in your place. Now, let's go back to the bully part. So, what happened with these nurses when you learned their code and they learned your code?
Well, I wouldn't say that we're best friends, but uh, two in particular. One of them, when we work together now, we have a very collegial relationship. We can share stories together. We can talk about what we do together in our off time, and we work together quite well. I can't. We don't go hang out after work together, but we get along really well. The other one, and the one who was a bigger problem, we now work together. We have a good working relationship together, but it ends there. Um, we're able we're able to pass information along much better than we were before. Previously, we would actually avoid each other as much as possible, and now it's like, okay, what do you need? Here's what we need to do, and we're able to talk things out. Whereas in the past, we really couldn't. And I can't say that I avoid her anymore. I don't know if she avoids me, but we're able to get through each other's workspace without the friction that we had before. And it's so much better. Um, Previously, it was like there was this division within the unit, people who got along with Dr. Nuessle, people who didn't get along with Dr. Nuessle. And now it's like, oh, yeah, we just kind of all work. There are people that I hang out with after work, and she's just not one of them. We get along fine in the workspace, and we don't hang out after work. But even
Um,
so, that's much better than the animosity we were having.
So let me ask you a question, Nan, because I'm sure our audience wants to know the answer to this. Do you believe by implementing the bank system and using the analytics that you've used that your patients are getting better care?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And for me, hearing that, and for other practitioners and hospitals and offices, at the end of the day, I know that they want their patients to get better care. And that's the big reason why I wanted to interview you today, because it isn't just, the bullying. The bullying is going to have what we call the ripple effect
Oh
of,
yeah,
yeah, and it's going to hit your patients
oh yeah.
who are the whole reason why you're there. Nan, I thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. And if anybody wants to get in touch with me or Nan, please just go ahead and look at our information below this video, and you can get in contact with Nan or myself to get more information about how you can implement the bank system into your business, your company, use the data to have a more cohesive workplace. Thank you so much and make it a great day. Bye for now.